Hi Maria, Grant Putnam here, Putnam Landscape Associates. So I figured I would take some time and make a video for you just so you and your husband could both watch it, understand everything. Alright, that's your house, look on Google Earth. Okay, north is here. So north is this direction. Okay, so the sun starts here and it shifts south, which is this direction, and it finishes over here. Okay, so this is east, and the sun goes like this, west. So you've got this massive bloodgood maple tree right here. Let me switch over to the other, let's see here. Come on, there we go. So you got this massive bloodgood maple tree right here. Okay, and because this is on the north side of your house, this is the least amount of sun right here. So you only get morning sun right here. And it doesn't make any sense to try to plant fastigiate hornbeam trees in the morning sun. The other thing is they had Taxus media hicksii, which is fine to create a little bit of a taller hedge along this back, but it does not make sense in front of your house to have something that grows, that tall. So I had suggested swapping out the Taxus in this little area here for a dwarf type of boxwood called green velvet boxwood. It wins the award every year for like the best boxwood, the best dwarf boxwood on the market, because it doesn't have winter burn problems, doesn't have a lot of insect problems. It does very well in the northeast. So it's an evergreen plant. It gives you the same sort of feel that you were going for, which is that kind of hedge feel, but it stays lower to the ground. You'd be able to maintain it roughly 30 inches high off the ground. Okay, which is the perfect height for the front of your house. Okay, then in here, rather than putting in hornbeams, we gave you suggestions for a couple other trees that aren't going to grow, that can do well in this partial sunlight. Okay, so that's what we did. In your current plan, you have a green giant arborvitae where I'm pointing here. That makes no sense. Okay, for two reasons. Green giant arborvitae grows about 80 feet tall. Okay, you never want to put an evergreen tree that grows that tall right 5 feet from the house. Okay, the other thing is there's your bloodgood maple. So literally there's almost zero sun right here. So anything you plant in there has to be extremely shade tolerant. It's not going to look tremendous just because of the amount of dense shade in that area, but that's got to be swapped out. Okay. The other thing was over in this area, they put a bunch of ornamental grasses. Again, that makes no sense because the sun starts here, kind of where the pen is, and it swings south. So you're not going to get any afternoon sun in this area. It's relatively shady. You only get some morning sun. So that's got to be more of a shade-loving plant for that corner of the property. Okay. Oops. Here we go. Where are we? Okay, so I like the Taxus over here, the hedge. I think that'll look nice. I like the ferns over here. Again, that's protection from afternoon sun because the sun ends up behind these trees that are there, so that's fine. Hornbeams would look nice here. Hornbeams would look fine here. We also spoke about in this area trying to keep it more of a low plant around the special type of fence that you're building. So that's something to point out. So that's it. So I'm going to shoot you over a quote, and we'll take it from there. Our advantage is the quality material that we're able to buy, because we buy it on tractor-trailer load quantities directly right from the farm versus having to buy it locally from a re-wholesaler. All right. Our expertise level and knowing what we're doing, because this is the thing, right? You obviously have an architect's plan here, and I can tell you that the architect might not know that much about plants from looking at his plan. Okay, I think the idea is where you have the plants, the structure of the landscaping makes sense, but he's not taking into account for sunlight. Okay, so if you decide to hire us, one other advantage is because we know really know what we're doing, and we maintain all these properties after we do a design build. We know what these plants look like 5, 6, 7 years later. So we can point out these possible design flaws and you know, save you some money of having to redo things in the future. Okay. Furthermore, when you get a plan like this, about half of the design is done preliminary, and then half of the design is done on site. So you really can't hire like a guy who cuts grass who doesn't even know where to buy the best plants from. So you're going to get a poor quality plant typically from the cheapest possible nursery. If it's a real price shopping situation where you know you're getting a guy that doesn't normally do these projects, he's going to end up, you know, thinking about that he's got to be price competitive. He's going to buy a subpar plant, and then he's not going to know how to exactly locate it. So if you're off by 6 inches on a location of a plant, then the design 4 years later is not going to look right. So again, you know, half the design is done as preliminary thought, half of it's on site when you're placing the plants. What we'll typically do is we'll put all the plants on top of the ground and then talk to you about why it's in that specific location. So this way we're working together as a team, but you can use our expertise to make sure that we're not going to be putting a plant too close to the house or a plant in the wrong position that's not going to look good in a few years down the road. So I'll shoot you over the quote, a list of references, and then we'll take it from there. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.